Erased Destiny 2, The Knower. Chapter 3, War of Nerves. As soon as the sea stopped freezing every night, Jargon packed up his belongings, cashiered the equivalent of a tenement apartment, and rode on horseback to Sintra. Accustomed to the strong wind freezing the skin on his face, the icy air stinging with every inhalation, he unbuttoned his sheepskin in the walled city. It seemed to him that spring had arrived, although snow lingered under the shutters. Walking toward the courthouse, Jargon stepped under the wheels of a horse-drawn carriage. He didn't hear the coachman's shouts. In fact, he hadn't heard anything for days. He felt like he had balls of cotton wool stuck in his ears, letting through only a few ambient murmurs. For example, the ringing of bells. That's exactly what Jargon heard. He apologized with a hand gesture to the coachman and continued on his way. In the courthouse, disregarding the protests of the usher, which, by the way, Jargon did not hear, he barged into the court dining room.
Merigold.
Before the guards forcibly dragged Jargon out of the court, a friend rushed to his aid.
This is my witness. Let him go, please.
She led the boy to the waiting room. There, they sat down, got a cup of hot tea each.
What brings you to me?
I can hear nothing. Help me, please.
Jargon replied, guessing that Merigold was asking about the reason for the meeting. The girl put her hand on Jargon's forehead to hear his thoughts instead. Because he didn't know telepathy, they couldn't talk without words.
Hearing damage takes a long time to heal. What exactly happened to you?
I fell into the sea. Several times.
In that case, I will make you an herbal compress. You need to warm up, that's for sure. I live right next to the court, also as soon as I finish work, we will take care of your injuries. Will you wait here? Don't worry, they won't force you out until I say that we are done.
In the afternoon, they went to a restaurant together, because Merigold had nothing at home except yesterday's sandwiches. To the girl's surprise, Jargon paid for them. Due to his hearing problems, he hardly spoke, and Merigold was not eager to converse either. On the way, she purchased more firewood, for which Jargon again paid. Before she summoned a demon to help, the boy lifted the cord-tied heap.
Wait a minute, I wasn't expecting guests, so you understand.
She slipped inside and Jargon watched her hastily cleaning. She summoned 2 demons to help, but it didn't save her from sprinkling herself with ash when trying to clear the hearth, nor from falling off the stool while frantically wiping off the dust. The boy entered the apartment, placed the wood next to the fireplace, and started lighting the fire.
Wait, I have some kindling here.
Jargon didn't hear her. Everett showed him how to start a fire. He taught him many skills needed by a man, which in a house filled with servants Jargon could not learn. Seeing that the boy was doing great on his own, Etien reached for an atlas of herbs. She knew no cure for hearing loss, having never encountered such an ailment before.
Zuzu, can you hear me?
Sure, Mom. Loud and clear. How can I help you?
When you meet Nadia, please ask her how to cure deafness caused by bathing in icy water. Thank you. By the way, how many death mages are there?
It is still the smallest formation in the palace. Less than 20. 17 maybe. Would you like to meet them? Should they join you in Sintra?
Etien put away the book and busied herself with preparing a bed for the unexpected guest. She didn't answer Zuzu. She didn't decide yet what to do with the black mages. Meanwhile, Jargon sat on the stove and warmed his body, which was chilled by the sea. He felt Merigold's restraint, as if the girl would not receive anyone in her apartment, so he said,
It is a very nice apartment. I'm glad you no longer live in that attic.
Me too. I like my new job very much. In particular, the investigations. Searching the homes of suspected criminals is a great fun.
Only after a moment did Merigold realize that Jargon could not hear her. She smiled, and Jargon reciprocated the smile. If Merigold takes care of him whenever he got ill, he wouldn't get well at all. In Merigold's hands appeared a small bottle with a note attached. Eardrop.
The only advantage of the Crystal Palace is that it is richly stocked with medicines. Lie down. I'll cure you right away.
In the morning, Jargon was surprised to discover that ambient sounds were reaching his brain, garbled, barely intelligible and annoying, but at least he could hear something. He said out loud,
Merigold? Are you here?
No one answered him, but he could hear his own voice. Satisfied with the progress of his treatment, he went shopping. He wanted to help his working friend, to repay her for the help and accommodation. He was looking for something to eat, especially fresh bread. So he went down to the bakery. There he overheard a conversation among the boys, amused by something.
But what a cold bitch this Joanna is. I wouldn't want to have a mother like that.
Neither would I. Almost feel sorry for Jargon. If I were in his shoes, I'd run away from home.
Did you forget that he has no spin? No way he could run away.
Jargon approached the young men. He found it hard to believe that they were talking about his family, but the coincidence of names was too striking.
Strange, Cyril looked quite normal. Why did he get under the thumb of such a woman?
For sure it was the money. I bet Joanna brought a sizable dowry.
As if that could sweeten the meanness. I would prefer a poor maiden, but with nice personality, loving and caring. Not such piece of ice.
It was his turn, so Jargon bought 2 loaves of bread, paid, and turned to the peers, having a lively discussion.
Sorry to interrupt, but what are you guys talking about?
About the new performance of our street theater troupe. People are storming the tavern, climbing in through the windows, just to see it. There is no square in Sintra big enough to accommodate all the spectators.
What is the name of the show?
Evil Mother-in-Law. It's the story of 2 young people, a poor girl and a rich boy and their families. A great comedy. They play it every other day at the Golden Rooster Inn. Although the show does not start until 8 p.m., there is no place inside from noon. Yesterday we managed to enter through the window on the first floor and stood on the stairs, but it was worth it. It's so popular that they won't stage anything else until the summer.
Jargon thanked for the information, and with the baked goods returned to Merigold's apartment. There, he met his friend, resting between trials. She was bustling around the kitchen, cooking soup on the bone.
How are you feeling?
Better. Thank you. I bought bread. Can I help you with anything else before I go to my place?
No need. Take the drops with you. You must use them every evening for 10 days. You know, I really like my new job, especially investigations. I have solved 2 cases already, both were murders. Do you know how much fun one can have when searching through houses of victims and accused for an evidence of the crime?
Well, I don't know if I could like such a job, but I am happy for you. And I am glad that this time you have found a job that suits you, that allows you use your abilities and shine. You look really happy. People in town talk about a new show. Evil Mother-in-Law or something. Supposedly an excellent comedy. Have you seen it?
Merigold smiled broadly. She was pleased with the success of the theater troupe, increasing chance of finding Nathan.
No, unfortunately, I haven't had a chance. They also talk about it in the court. Maybe we can go to a performance together? Do you know when the show starts?
At 8 p.m. At the inn, I guess because of the low temperature. I'd love to go with you, but now it would be too crowdy. How about waiting until the interest subsides a bit?
What do we have magic for? We'll hang hammocks from the ceiling, how about that?
Jargon didn't answer. He suspected that for him, the show would be unpleasant, not funny. And Merigold doesn't need to see it, since she wrote the script. He thanked her for the care and medicine, and left Sintra. He didn't understand why his friend publicly slandered his family, why she portrayed him in the worst light. Because of this evil mother-in-law, Jargon lost the desire to brag about his exploits, and seeing how Merigold's housing standard had risen, He gave up on proposing to rent a place together. All of Everett's advice suddenly lost its meaning. All thoughtful sentences flew out of the boy's mind. On the way home, Jargon pondered his plans for the next few days. Working at the port organized his time, provided him with a steady occupation and a mass of additional activities, such as learning from Everett. Back home, the boy was threatened by his former boredom and dreariness. Days filled with waiting for something that he couldn't even imagine, for a change of his fate. Seeing an unfamiliar horse in the stable, Jargon decided it was better to enter the house through the window. He didn't want to disturb his father's business, so he took the route through the dining room, where he unexpectedly found his parents in the company of an unknown man.
Ah, our son Jargon. And this is Noah Martin. He came from Sintra to tell us who broke into our house.
Good afternoon. So how is it going?
Pretty well, I think. The perpetrators are from the nearby villages, mainly Wolves Roam and Deer Hut. Unfortunately, they chose not to cooperate. We have to interrogate everyone and it takes time. I'm sorry.
But it's not your fault. Only those criminals. Who would expect anything good from them? How long will the interrogations take?
As Martin considered the right answer, Jargon felt an overwhelming urge to act. This was what he was looking for, an opportunity to demonstrate his skills. Perhaps, if Martin mentioned to Merigold the support Jargon had given him, the girl would agree to have a dinner with him. He thought about inviting her to the sea, about renting an apartment for her, and about meeting Everett, who had the best possible opinion of Jargon. In addition to the praise, Jargon was hoping for an opportunity to cruise on Everett's yacht. He hoped that it would please Merigold, make the right impression on her. More scenarios materialized in his mind, more ideas, obstacles, and limitations. Although getting Merigold's attention was not an easy task, Jargon could already see them together.
Perhaps I could help. I know the neighbors. I could talk to them, visit them in their homes. I know what was stolen from our home, so I can identify the thieves faster. Then you could concentrate on the act of vandalism in my father's office, which is much more difficult to investigate.
I would appreciate it. Just remember that you must not take any action, self-judgment in particular. All you have to do is give me a list of names. We'll take care of the rest in Sintra, okay?
Jargon eagerly nodded and ran to his room. He loved theft cases. He stopped halfway down the stairs. What? He had never dealt with one. He had no idea how to go about the search he had applied for. He didn't know his neighbors at all and had never talked to anyone. A quiet, amused little voice echoed in his head.
I'll help you. Don't worry about anything. And it is me who loves theft cases. They were my favorite while I was working in the palace. And when you meet Merigold, ask when she is taking a vacation, so that you can coordinate your activities, all those renting, sailing, dinners, and so on. Don't forget about chocolates. It is said that the first date without chocolate would end miserably.
What? Who are you?
Nathan. Nice to meet you.
Nathan? That Nathan? The one that Merigold dreams about? What are you doing in my head? Get out. Now!
The voice that Jargon heard. Could he be imagining things? Could it be some crazy side effect of Merigold's medicine? He called out Nathan's name few times, but heard nothing except of his own voice. Despite the early hour, Jargon went straight to bed and fall asleep immediately. Before the sun rose, Jargon slipped out of the house. He woke up on his own. Although this had rarely happened to him before, it seemed to him that 5 a.m. was the perfect time to say goodbye to his bed. Suspecting that he was beginning to lose his mind, he snuck into Abella and Raglan's house. Only those neighbors he did not suspect of stealing, but he approached the assigned task with full commitment. Without thinking, he jumped into the bushes growing by the kitchen window. The snow cover provided him with additional camouflage, but even without it, Jargon was confident that he had chosen the best vantage point. He glanced inside the house, where Abella was preparing breakfast for everyone. She was dressed simply, in a dress and apron that Jargon had seen more than once. On her feet, she slipped woolen slippers, disheveled from old age. Satisfied with the results of his observation, the boy moved to a tree whose branches hung above a neighboring house. From there, he looked around, but found no better hiding place, so he stayed there motionless, waiting for someone to come out of the house. His attention was drawn to the voices of two girls running for water. He knew both of them by sight, and knew that they lived in the center of the village. He looked at the girls, assessing their attire, but he immediately shifted his gaze to the man carrying wood to the house for the fireplace. Surrounded by the woods, Wolves' Rome never suffered from a shortage of wood, so why did people steal Cyril's firewood? Out of laziness? The stolen food was sure to be consumed in time. The candlestick, bedding, and woolen linen were left to be found. Peeping at the neighbors began to give Jargon pleasure, especially since these neighbors didn't realize they were being watched. The would-be scout was intrigued by the girl picking up eggs for breakfast. Seemingly nothing strange about it, but the girl had wrapped her neck in Joanna's woolen stockings. Jargon jumped down on the snow and stealthily approached the house where the girl lived. Through the window, he noticed the stolen quilt. He remembered the location of the house and continued his reconnaissance. He was sure that his mother would never put on herself the recovered items, but he was not looking for the thieves to force them to return the looted items. What made him angry was their impunity. It took 2 months of neighbors' absence to break into their home. At lunchtime, Jargon returned from scouting, but not at all to finally eat something. He chatted with his father, who was sitting in an empty office.
Dad, do you know who lives in which house?
Of course I do. How else could I check if they fulfill their contracts? If they are paying their obligations on time?
Great. I found the stolen items, but I'm afraid I won't determine much more. Shall we take a ride?
They got on their horses and rode out onto the snowy road. Cyril with a piece of paper and a coal in his hand. Jargon relaxed, smiling, admiring the view.
House on the left. See, they haven't cleared the roof of snow. Just waiting for the snow to fall on their heads. Woolen underwear and a better quilt would certainly help them.
Cyril glanced at the door of the house. Zenon and Regina. And last fall, he agreed to postpone their rent payment.
The little one in front.
An old widow lives there. Don't bother her.
2 houses away, on the right. The one with the black fence. Candlestick, your woolen vest and that ugly brown winter coat of yours.
These ones don't lack anything. Ugly, you said? Maybe, but I really liked it. That greenhouse, I know, they took some of my socks and woolen blankets, but it doesn't matter. The man there lost his leg 2 months ago. They are in difficult situation.
After completing the tour, Cyril thanked Jargon for the work he had done. He didn't ask, how did the boy do it? Why did he volunteer to help Martin in the first place? He thanked him, patted him on the shoulder and offered to have dinner at home, to which Jargon eagerly agreed.